I may not have sold a ton this week, but I did sell some amazing shoes for some really good prices. So if you want to learn what those brands were, stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park. I'm a part-time reseller on a variety of reselling platforms like you're going to hear about in today's video. I don't like to put all of my eggs in one basket, and as a result, I had like a decent sales week. I'm not hitting my goals, but we're making money, we're making sales, and that's what counts. And you set high goals so that you push yourself harder. So I'm not going to beat myself up over the fact that I'm not making my goals, but let's just jump right into it with one of the greatest bundles that I have ever had in my life. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what my best bundle ever was. I know some people talk about like 18-piece bundles or like 24-piece bundles. I've never had anything like that, but this was good. This had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items in it.
Seven.
That was a lot. And what happened was they liked everything, and I think they put everything in a bundle. I sent them an offer and they accepted, and that's how I made the sale. And I sent them a good offer because a lot of these items were things that I had in my possession for a very long time, and I was very excited at the prospect of getting rid of them. So let's talk about this bundle. First of all, this is Monday, January 30th that we were talking about. This 7-piece bundle consisted of this pair of soft surroundings, tan Freeman flare high-rise velvet pants in a women's size 10. I picked these up at a local consignment store. I had $3 into them, and I had picked up 3 identical pairs of pants that day from Soft Surroundings, but just in different colors. I thought they would sell quick because typically Soft Surroundings sells very quickly, but like I talked about in one of my previous videos, Soft Surroundings bottoms, I feel like, take forever to sell. They sit for a very long time. And now I know because I bought those 3 and I sat on them for well over 6 months, some of them well over a year, but these finally sold in this bundle. The next thing to sell was another Soft Surroundings piece. This was a ruffle floral maxi dress. It was called the Italian Dreams dress. It was in a size medium, and I also got this at a consignment store, a different one than the pants, and I had $6.90 into that dress. I thought this dress was gorgeous, and I knew that this would do pretty well. I feel like this is the kind of stuff from Soft Surroundings that moves pretty quickly, so I wasn't surprised that she included this in her bundle. The next piece that was in this bundle was this Cabby Expedition, that was the style name, green military jacket. It had ruched sleeves. It was in a size medium, and this I had picked up for $8, I believe, at a local consignment store. I have had really good luck lately selling Cabby, especially their outerwear, so again, not surprised that this sold as part of this bundle. The next item in this bundle was this Band of Gypsies sheer paisley button-up shirt in a women's size medium. This one I had $3.92 into because it came to me in a wholesale lot that I got from a reseller. I don't find this brand very often. Even when I do, though, I feel like I tend to leave it behind. It's okay. It's kind of like boho, and but I don't know. I never feel like it's made of like super great quality or anything like that. Speaking of which, the next item to sell was by the brand Show Me Your Muumuu. This is another brand that, first of all, I rarely find. I hardly ever find it, where I am in my thrift stores or even consignment stores. But furthermore, I just feel like this brand, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why it's so expensive. I don't feel like is made of very high quality. Most of the pieces are made of polyester. I don't get it. But this Show Me Your Muumuu piece was a floral maxi dress. The style name was Kendall, and it was really cute. But again, I don't know. I just feel like it's not the best quality, but this was in a size medium. And again, I had $3.92 into that dress because it was part of the same wholesale lot. I also sold this new handmade Spanish artisan suede necklace. This was something that a parent of a student of mine actually gave to me years ago. We're talking pre-COVID, so I've had this thing for a long time, but I didn't have any money into that, which was great. And then the final thing that sold as part of this bundle was this pair of Jeffrey Campbell bronze, kind of like jelly material almost, open toe Y2K wedge slip-on sandals in a women's size 8. I got those on Whatnot for $7.97. I, like many other resellers, went through a Whatnot phase where I was just on Whatnot all the time. I was popping into as many people's shows as possible. I found it kind of fascinating, and also if you were in like the right show, you know, if there weren't very many people in there, you could get some really good stuff for pretty cheap. And I thought that, you know, paying $7.97, that's including shipping, by the way. So that means maybe it was like $1 or $2 store. I don't even remember. But sometimes you could get stuff for really cheap. Sometimes things were way too expensive, especially when you considered shipping, especially back in the day before Whatnot figured out how to combine shipping and all that kind of stuff. But I thought I did pretty well with those. So 7 items. I sent her an offer of $180 on those 7 items. That was with discounted shipping. And I had $33.71 into that bundle once you factor in the cost of goods for each piece. So I made a net profit on that bundle of $107.61, which isn't like a ton given, you know, how many pieces were in there. But I was just happy to move that many pieces at one time, especially because, let's see, oh my gosh, we are really getting close to moving day. If you didn't know, I am moving to a new house. It is like 5 minutes away from where I live right now, but the house is much more conducive for reselling, and also like my mother-in-law is going to be visiting a lot more. My parents visit a lot, and one day, probably in the near future, we'll have some form of grandparents living with us, and the house is well suited for that as well. It has a nice in-law suite on the first floor, so really excited about the move. Not excited though about moving all this stuff, and I've got stuff in this closet. I mean, there's a lot of inventory that I'm moving, so whoever bought this bundle, thank you for getting 7 pieces out of my house so that I don't have to move them to my new house. The next sale is one of the first amazing shoe sales that I had this week. This was a pair of Ariat. You guys know how I am at pronouncing things. But it was this pair of Ariat Heritage Contour 2 Field Zip Tall Black Riding Boots in a size 6.5B. They had a slim calf, and I got these at the Goodwill outlet in Seattle. So I had about $2 into them. Here's what happened. I got them last summer, so the summer of 2022, but I probably listed them sometime in the month of January. It took me forever to get these listed because they were really beat up. And I actually ordered this. I don't know if this is like the best brand. I did use this on those boots. It's Dr. Martens shoe polish. This is in black because there was just so much wear to the leather on those boots. You could tell that someone who rode horses had used them pretty frequently, and you could see like on the back of the boot, especially like when they're trying to take the boot off and they're using their other boot to kind of like push the boot off of their foot, you could see all of that wear. It was a lot. And so I bought this, and it just took me forever to get around to applying it and seeing if I could bring any life back into it. So between this and the Wonder Balls and from Dr. Martens, I think I got them to be in like sellable condition, but I was still just kind of like, I don't know. Plus they were super long and kind of hard to photograph, which is why I ended up like laying them down on the ground. I had them listed for $125. I was just kind of going off of comps. I probably did price a little high, especially considering the condition. Like I said, I tried to put as much work into them as I could, but I knew too like what kind of shape they were in to begin with. Someone liked them. Posher VA sent out an offer, 5 minutes after they liked the item, because that's how I have things set up on Posher VA. They accepted, and so I made a net profit of $81.08. Again, these were pretty beat up. I mean, they were still super functional. All of the buttons and clasps and zippers and all those things worked really well. It was just a lot of wear on the leather. I did treat the leather the best that I could, and lo and behold, I got 5 stars. The sale went through, and I made such good money on those boots. I just wish I hadn't waited so long to list them. I'm also glad though that they sold and I don't have to take them to the new house. But oh my goodness, Ariat like equestrian boots, like these are definitely a bolo. On Tuesday, which was January 31st, on eBay, I sold another video game. If you didn't know, last week I sold a video game as well. It was a game that I had gotten for my kids. It was Minecraft for the Switch. This was a game that my husband actually really wanted me to get for the Switch because he has fond memories of playing it when he was younger. The game is Mario Tennis Aces. So I got it on Mercari new, I believe. I had some Mercari credit, so I got it for him. Again, it was for the Nintendo Switch. It came with a case. I sold it for $29.99, and I kid you not when I say it literally sold within a few hours of being listed. I got so many offers on it. Like, people were offering like 20, 22, 24. I had one person on Mercari who was kind of berating me for not accepting his offer, but I was like, listen, I've gotten lots of offers, and so I'm just going to give it till the end of the day to see if someone buys it outright, because it seems like this is really popular. And as suspected, all he had to do was wait a few hours and someone bought it outright for $29.99, which to me was crazy because there were people selling this game brand new for a little bit less even. So I don't know what it was about my particular game that made people want to put offers on it and or even, buy it outright for more than brand new games. I'm not going to complain though. So again, if you've got video games, especially if they're popular games like most Mario games, Minecraft, that sort of thing, definitely get them listed. They will not be listed for very long. Moving into Wednesday, which was February 1st, on Poshmark, I sold this pair of CC Filson. So Filson is a menswear brand that you need to know. It is such a good brand. Now, this wasn't the best pickup, and I'll talk about it in a second, but holy cow, Filson can do really well. This was a pair of tan, straight leg, 5-pocket jeans in a men's size 30 by 34. I found these at a Plato's Closet. It was like a 50% clearance sale. They had them priced at $12, so I got them for $6, and I was shocked to my very core. I was shocked that they were priced so low. I was shocked that they were still there. But also I noticed on the tag that it said as is. And usually Plato's will only write as is on the tag if there's a flaw. So when I looked at the pair of jeans a little bit more carefully, I noticed that there were, I think it was like dirt stains. Like it seemed like maybe someone wore them, outside. Maybe it was like a rainy day or something, and they were walking around, and, as they were walking, the water was kind of like sloshing around and getting on the back of their pants. I don't know about you, like when it's wet outside and when I walk outside in the rain, I don't know what's wrong with the way that I walk, but the back of my calves always get soaked. Like I'm like kicking water to the back of my calves. Someone please teach me how to walk. I don't know if that's normal, but I think the person who owned these had the same problem that I did. But they seem like they were really stuck in there. Like I was not going to be able to get them out. And so I just went ahead and listed them as is with those little dirt marks, and they still sold for $30. Now, if these were in good condition, I do think that they would have sold for a little bit more. But also in general, I noticed that because these were tan, when I was looking up comps for tan or beige colored jeans, they didn't do as well as regular jeans from Filson. And I have sold, tops and jackets and things like that from Filson, and those always do really, really well. But again, I think if these were not colored denim, they would have done even better. But I'm not going to complain about a pretty quick flip of really flawed jeans and still getting someone to pay $30 for them. So I ended up making a net profit of $18 on those, and I would do it again if I had the chance. The next thing to sell was over on eBay. I was very excited about this sale. It was a dress by the brand Lavish Alice. This was my very first time finding this brand. It's definitely been on my list of brands that I want to find, and I found it at a local consignment store. So it was this cobalt blue strapless bodycon, kind of like layered dress in a women's size 4. This I got at a local consignment store for $2.52 as part of their birthday sale. So they had all these racks outside, and you just got as many items as you wanted. You stuffed them in a bag, and each bag cost $25. That's why my cost of goods for that particular trip was so low, because I was able to get so many things in a bag. And actually, they put stuff in the bag for you, and they really rolled those suckers up to fit as many pieces as possible in a bag, which I was really thankful for. So I couldn't believe that this dress made it to, their birthday sale and that it didn't sell before, given that it's a pretty popular brand. It did have some residue of maybe deodorant or even a little sweat on the armpit area, but I did stain treat it, and this dress ended up selling for $49.99, which was my full asking price. And so I made a net profit on that dress of $40.99. I don't get to find brands like this very often. That's why, like I was saying, it was on my bucket list of brands that I want to find, just because it's not commonplace to find brands like this in my area. So that was super exciting. And then on my my website, which is shopbeckypark.com, I sold this Hannah Anderson gray wool blend alpine cable knit sweater in a size 100. It's like 100 centimeters, which is the equivalent of a kid size 4. That sold for $19.95 to Lisa. That was something that I had gotten for my son. He probably wore it like 2 times. I feel like these kinds of sweaters are so cute for kids, but they're not super practical because, if they have any wool in them or anything like that, kids get so itchy. They're so sensitive to fabrics like that. They're so sensitive even to like tags. And so I think I got this on my son like twice. That's all he would tolerate. But regardless, I'm saying I didn't have a cost of goods into it because it was something that we used. So I made a net profit of $14.19. And that went to Lisa. So Lisa, thank you so much for shopping my website and supporting me. Again, if you guys want to check out my website, I do have a link for it down in the description. I didn't get to do a March drop just because it's been insanely crazy with, trying to pack up our entire house for this move. And with spring break, we went to Cancun. And so we were out for a few days. There was just too much going on. And I didn't get a March drop in, but I promise there's one coming in April. Next, we'll talk about Thursday, which was February 2nd. This was another great shoe sale. So this was a pair of new without the box Timberland black Nubuck Allington lace-up 6-inch boots in a women's size 10. Believe it or not, I found these at the Goodwill bins or like the Goodwill outlet in Seattle as well when I went in the summer of 2022. I had them listed for $100, I believe. I don't think I had them listed any higher than that. They were listed for a few months. Like I listed these much earlier than I did those Ariat boots that I talked about. They were listed for a good number of months, but they sold eventually for my full asking price of $100. I had $2 into them because that was my average cost of goods that day at the Seattle Goodwill outlet. So I made a net profit of $78 on those boots. Timberland is interesting because I feel like comps are kind of all over the place. But what I noticed was that these kind of high-heeled boot versions of the classic like Timberland boot, the comps were pretty good. Now, I do think that I had mine priced pretty high, but they ended up selling for my full asking price. And I got, 5 stars and a love note and all that kind of stuff. And I put new without the box because I could tell by looking at the treads and just looking at the shoes in general, they had never been worn. Somebody bought these or, came into possession of these somehow, just never wore them and donated them to the Goodwill. It is crazy that that happens. Very excited about that sale. The next thing to sell was over on Mercari. I sold this Outer Sport OT 2000 fleece gray half-zip pullover sweatshirt in a men's size 2XL. Now, I've personally never heard of Outer Sport OT, but this was something that I got from a reseller who sold me all of her clothes that she had sourced because she realized after a year of reselling that she just didn't enjoy selling clothes. And so I bought her inventory off of her really cheap. So I had about $2 into each item. That one sold for $17 on Mercari, which is not super exciting, but I did make a net profit of $12.31. And surprisingly, that actually sold pretty fast. It sold within a few weeks of being listed. Now remember, this sale is from February 2nd, and at that time, people are definitely still buying cold weather clothing, things like these kind of heavy duty fleeces and pullovers and whatnot. Now that we're at the end of March, personally, I don't recommend making these kinds of pieces a priority when it comes to listing. Right now, what I would be listing are things like shorts and dresses and tank tops and sandals and all the fun things that people are looking forward to wearing in the spring. They want to leave winter and cold weather behind. So if you're listing cold weather stuff, you just might have to sit on it for quite some time. So kind of prioritize what it is that you're listing. But like I said, at this time, I prioritized this particular pullover because the time that I listed it was January. The next thing to sell was this Ralph Lauren yellow long sleeve button-down shirt in a size large. This sold for $17. This was another thing that I got from the reseller who didn't like selling clothes. I had $2 into it and I made a net profit of $12.31. That was another thing that I didn't have listed for super long. And I feel like these kinds of things actually do pretty well on Mercari. It's like either eBay or Mercari that these kinds of things do well. And that's why for me personally, I cross-list things everywhere because even though there's kind of like a typical, oh yeah, like I bet that's going to sell on eBay, and it does, there are always things that sell on platforms that surprise me. Like always. So that's why, like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't like to put all of my eggs in one basket. And the tool that I use to help me cross-list as quickly as possible is called List Perfectly. It does a lot of things. It helps me manage my inventory. Like that's where I keep track of everything that I've purchased, as well as like the SKU for each item, as well as the cost of goods for each item and where I picked up the item. I want all that information. But I would say one of its primary functions is to help people cross-list from one platform to another, or from List Perfectly's database to a bunch of different platforms as quickly as possible. I don't think I could resell at the level that I do without List Perfectly. So if you want to give cross-listing a try, or if you've been looking for a way to keep track of your inventory better, whatever you might need it for, I definitely encourage you to check out this video here where I talk about List Perfectly and how to use it. And if you are interested in trying out List Perfectly, definitely check out the link down below in the description and use my coupon code BECKYPARK to save 30% off of your first month of List Perfectly. I truly think you will not regret it, because it is an amazing resource for any reseller who wants to be on more than one platform. All right, moving on to Friday, which was February 3rd, I sold another soft surroundings piece. So this was like the week of soft surroundings. It was this tan 3/4 sleeve shift dress. It was in a size extra large petite. It was made of 100% cotton. This sold for $25, and this was an offer that was sent out to likers via Poshmark VA. So I did also offer discounted shipping, because that's what Poshmark VA does. It, sends out offers to you and automatically includes a discounted shipping price, and you get to pick like which level of shipping discount you want to offer. There are all these things that you have to decide, like how many minutes after someone likes an item, or how much of a shipping discount you want to offer. You do all that with Poshmark VA, and then you just set it and you forget it, and it just sends out the offers, which is amazing. I had $4 into that dress, and so I made a net profit of $14.28. This is another soft surroundings piece, however, that I sat on for quite some time. And I think the reason for it is because soft surroundings, in my opinion, is best known for like their fun kind of like colorful printed pieces. They make beautiful dresses or blouses or jackets with like fun designs and stuff. They do a lot of basics as well, like this dress and like the pants that I talked about earlier, but I don't feel like people are as excited about that kind of stuff, and maybe not searching for it as much as styles that, they saw at the store or saw in a catalog that catches their eye a little bit more. So personally, I do think that when it comes to soft surroundings basics, I would leave them behind unless you're paying like dirt cheap prices for them, maybe at the bins or something like that. Even then, I don't know if it's worth picking up. So I learned that lesson the hard way from this dress, because like I said, I had it in my possession for quite some time. The next thing to sell was this pair of new with tags J. Crew stretch chino 9-inch inseam khaki shorts in a men's size 32. They were super preppy, and these actually were shorts that my husband had purchased, but he never wore them. And I'm telling you, we've been just going through the deepest of all purges as we're trying to, get ready to move. So he was going through his clothes and finding stuff that I could sell, or we donated a bunch of stuff. We took a lot of stuff to consignment stores, especially like children's consignment store, like a bunch of toys and my kids' old clothing and stuff. I didn't want to lug that stuff with me to the new house, so I just took it to a kids' consignment store, and they took a lot of it off of our hands. But these, I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and try to list them really quickly and see what happens. They sold for $20 really quickly, so I made a net profit of $16 on those shorts. And then on Saturday, which was February 4th, I had one sale. It was over on eBay. This was another item that I had in my possession for a very long time, but it was this Uniqlo and Disney collaboration t-shirt. It was navy, and it had like a bunch of Mickey Mouses on it. It was in a men's size medium. And this one, I believe I got in like a men's ThredUp rescue box. So I had $3 into it. It sold for $10 on eBay, and it was promoted at 3%. So I made a profit of $5.01. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say like I'm happy with this sale, especially because of the fact that I thought it was really fun, really cute, and I hope someone, bought it and is planning to wear it to Disney or on a Disney cruise or something like that. It's just a fun shirt. And then on Sunday, which was February 5th, on eBay, I sold this Croft & Barrow purple paisley long sleeve pop over blouse in a women's 1X. This is not the type of thing that I typically pick up when I'm at the thrift store. Croft & Barrow is a brand sold at places like Macy's. It does not retail for a ton. I mean, this stuff clearances down to like a handful of dollars, even at the department store. Somehow I sold it for $15 though on eBay. I had $2 into it because, again, that came from the reseller who didn't like to sell clothes. So I ended up making a profit of $10.42. What that tells me is, if you wear a lot of Croft & Barrow and maybe you've gone up a size or you've gone down a size or you've just got pieces that you don't wear anymore for whatever reason and they're in good condition, I think it's worth listing. If you make $10 here, $8 here, I mean, it all adds up, I personally would not pay money at a thrift store to pick up Croft & Barrow pieces to resell just because it's going to be hard to make good money on it unless it's something really special. But most Croft & Barrow pieces just really aren't going to be worth your time, in my opinion. So you take it or leave it. If you want to pick up all the Croft & Barrow at the thrift store, be my guest. I will leave it all there for you. And then the last thing to sell was a Shopify sale. And this sale was extremely exciting to me because I believe this person found this sale just by searching for this particular item on Google. I could be wrong. The purchase could have been from a viewer. The person who purchased it was named Sandra. But the reason I think that this was a Google purchase is because this person actually emailed me. She said, "Hey, I found this blazer on this website and I just want to make sure that it's a legitimate website." And I get that. Like, it's a random Shopify website. It's like Shop BECKYPARK. Like, who is this person? Like, if you don't watch my channel, I get like it's probably weird. So, she reached out via email and I was like, "Yes, I promise. Like, this is legitimate. Like, I'm a real person and I will send this to you once you purchase it." So that was really cool. That was really exciting. The goal is to have people find my website and my pieces organically. They're just searching for something in particular or they're searching for, a specific keyword and they come across something on my website and they make the purchase. Like, that is the goal. To be honest with you, it feels a little like sleazy or like, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me to constantly like come after you guys to be like, please buy my stuff. I feel like I don't really make very many viewer sales on my regular platforms. And I like to think that a lot of it is because like I'm not asking viewers to necessarily buy things from me. Obviously, if people do, I'm so thankful, but I also like would hate the feeling that someone's buying something from me just to buy something from me, but they don't even want or need this. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I have all these like mixed feelings about it, but it just felt really cool to have someone find my website through a Google search and make a purchase. Like, that made it feel like I made it. So I don't know, maybe you are a viewer, Sandra, and if so, thank you for making me feel that way. I appreciate you, but that was a really cool way to end the week. So let's talk about my numbers. On Poshmark, I sold 12 items for a gross sales amount of $461. That was pretty good for me, and a lot of that obviously was because of that big bundle that I had at the beginning of the week. Once you factor in Poshmark fees and the fact that I did offer discounted shipping on a number of those transactions, that total drops to $362.68. My cost of goods for those 12 items was $48.21, and so I made a net profit on Poshmark of $314.47. On eBay, I only sold 4 items. I don't know, like January and February, it was just kind of rough when it came to eBay. So that was for a gross sales amount of $104.98. Once you factor in eBay's fees and maybe some shipping discrepancies, that total drops to $88.10. I had $5.52 into those 4 items, and so I made a net profit of $82.58. On Mercari, I sold 2 items for a gross sales amount of $34. Once you factor in the Mercari fees, that total drops to $28.62. I had $4 as my cost of goods, and so my net profit was $24.62 on Mercari. On my own website, which is, again, shopbeckypark.com, I sold 2 items, and it wasn't even the week of a drop. Like, that felt really good. That was for a gross sales amount of $59.90. Once you factor in the fact that I paid for shipping because I offer free shipping on my website, and Shopify's very small fee fees, that total drops to $43.96. I had $9 into those 2 items, so I made a net profit of $34.96. So in total for the week, I sold 20 items for a gross sales amount of $659.88. Once you factor in all the fees and shipping, that total drops to $523.36, and I had $66.73 as my cost of goods. So my net profit for the week was $456.63. We're still looking at like half of what my goal is, but all that does is make me want to work harder and push myself, and I'm ready to do what I have to close the gap. So that is everything that sold for me this week. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you enjoy what sold videos, I do have a playlist right here with a bajillion more of them. And finally, if you're brand new to my channel, first of all, thank you for being here. Thanks for watching this video and making it all the way to the end. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that we get to hang out more in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.